Welcome to the Happiness and Success After Illinois Tech podcast with the Illinois Tech alumni. We're so happy you're here, and we can't wait for you to be inspired from all these real-life stories of people that attended Illinois Tech, graduated, and found success. No matter your major, your background, or where you're from, success and happiness are possible, and here are the stories to prove it. Welcome, everyone. My guest this week is Anna Kladzyk Constantino. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So Anna graduated Illinois Tech in 2013, and I'm going to let her tell us what she studied and what degree she graduated with and what you're doing now. Let's hear it.
Sure. I studied civil engineering at Illinois Tech, and that was what my degree was in. Right after that, I started a graduate program at the University of Texas at Austin in environmental and water resources engineering. And I graduated that program in 2015 and then started working at a consulting firm July after finishing my grad program and have been at the same firm ever since. So it'll be 8 years this summer.
So what's your actual role right now?
I am a senior engineer at my firm. I'm a water resources engineer. I do some civil work, but we are very focused on restoration projects for a lot of aquatic habitat. So restoring habitat for fish. It's a big issue in California and Oregon. And then I do some work that's more like scientific studies. I do climate adaptation planning work, and some data science support work. Our firm has a data science team, so sometimes I'll work with them. I did a lot of geospatial data analysis. That's how I got into engineering. I started studying GIS at a community college in Chicago and then transferred to Illinois.
Tell me about that. I was going to ask you, how did you figure out you wanted to do this kind of work? So what was that? Were you in high school when you decided I'm going to go this path, or were you in college and you found it?
It was never something I envisioned for myself. I always thought I would be an artist. So this finding engineering was a long, circuitous path for me. But what happened was that I had a really amazing professor at the community college who I started taking a geology class with her. She was an engineer from Columbia, and had taught in Chicago for many years. And she had a conversation with me because I wasn't doing very well in the class. And she was like, you have potential to do something in this kind of technical field. She's like, you should really explore that because it would be a shame if you didn't. So I was very encouraged by that and took calculus and all the prereqs. And at that time, there was a new scholarship program that started between the city colleges and I believe different colleges in Illinois. So I was able to get a transfer scholarship and move to Illinois Tech and finish my engineering degree there.
That's so cool. I love the story that it was one person that saw something in you and then it got you excited about the potential, because I just think it's not talked about enough. And it really can just be one person, one idea. You can read one book, whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, it sparks an idea, and the possibilities all of a sudden are completely different than what you would imagine. So it's also a shout out to all the teachers, because I feel like some of that's happened to me too. And it's pretty common, and not everyone always says, oh, it's just this one thing that someone said or encouraged you. And now you're on a completely different path than you thought you'd be, just because someone noticed something in you. It's just so valuable and so important for parents. I know you're a parent, and for teachers, and just anyone in the corporate world that says, you're just mentoring people. It just really has a lot of impact, and it's cool. It's a cool story.
Yeah, she changed my life, and I'm lucky to have had a few teachers, mentors in my life that have helped me see things in a new way or see new possibilities for myself.
I love that. That's so cool. So you're in community college, you go to Illinois Tech, and then you went and got your graduate degree. did you have internships along the way, or did you just finish graduate school and then apply for your job? And how did that work for you?
I um I worked at Illinois Tech for the IIT Boeing Scholars Academy, which was a program that high school students came to Illinois Tech and did this kind of series of summer workshops. And then the students were mentored throughout the school year. And so that wasn't like an engineering internship, but it was a really formative experience for me while I was in school because I got to collaborate with a lot of other undergraduate students at Illinois Tech in different programs, in computer science, in construction management. We were sort of like this team of student teachers helping the program facilitators develop the content for the high school students and teach classes for them. So that was very formative for me. And then I did a internship at a civil engineering, transportation engineering firm, I believe kind of like the last 6 months of the program at Illinois Tech. And then because I went right to graduate school, I did not do an internship really in the summer. And I didn't have any internships while I was in graduate school. I was a teaching assistant during graduate school doing research. So
okay, that's pretty cool. So you knew, 6 months long is a long time to have an internship or an opportunity like that. Typically, students will have 8 to 10 weeks over the summer. So you got a little bit more experience, and you still had, and then you were in graduate school, and that was enough for you to go get the role you got when you graduated, obviously, with your master's.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I kind of struggled a little bit at the end of my graduate program. I had the option to stay on to do my PhD, and then I had an offer to work at the Army Corps of Engineers lab in Mississippi that I'm forgetting the name of now. So I had academia, job in government, or job in consulting. Those were my spectrum of options, which is kind of the gamut for someone in my position.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was kind of a big choice in my life, and consulting has worked out for me for a while now. So
how did you make that choice between those three?
I think a lot of it was what I wanted my lifestyle to be. And I think for me, because I was a little older going to school, and I knew I wanted to have a family soon. So it seemed like I would be better set up to do that working in consulting than going into academia, because it's such a rigorous, 5 years or so.
Yeah.
And then, the government job, was a great opportunity, but very far away from my family. So for me, it was kind of a lifestyle decision.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because so many of us say, okay, I'm just going to go get this job, and then not think about what it's going to be in the future, or even 5 years down the road, what you want your life to look like. And getting a job is obviously important and necessary to have a life. But all those other things are important to incorporate and assess. And I know that even like at 21 or 22, when you're younger doing it, I'm just going to get this job. And it's like, but there's all these other things that are going to come into play, and things will change and things will evolve, of course. But you want to think about what you want your life to be like. And that first job can often set you on that trajectory. And if you're going against resisting either what you want or telling yourself it's not important, I'm just going to do this other thing first, it's probably not going to be all that great of a journey, a beginning of a journey.
Right.
So I think it's important for young people, especially, to understand all that. It's not just like, oh, I got this great job, now what? So I tell the students when I'm coaching at Illinois Tech, like, there's all these other things to consider. And especially if you have a couple different offers and you're trying to figure out it's not always the money. That's the most important. It's almost often not, I would never coach them to say, just take the one with the most amount of money. What are all the other variables to consider? So it's important. I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's not necessarily something all different, no matter your background, no matter if you want a family, you don't want a family, these are just things to consider in general. And not everyone is coached that or taught that when they're growing up. Just like go to school and pick a job or a career. It's like, there's so much more to it.
Yes. And I think sometimes people that are pursuing a technical thing are drawn to doing the most kind of quote unquote prestigious or,
Mhm.
you know, type A decision. And that may not, well, for some people that may make you happy, not for
Yeah.
everyone. And also I haven't ruled out a PhD in my future or a job in government. So I still, or something else, I still
Yeah.
see my options as very open, and I'm happy where I am now, but that doesn't mean that I have to do that for the rest of my life. So
Yeah. Especially I tell the students that are, looking towards graduation soon, I say, you are a woman, you are a female with a STEM career in an industry that is craving diversity and all these different ideas and inclusiveness, and use that to your advantage. You have so many more options than you would have even probably 5 years ago, because it's just so front and center now in the world and in corporate America,
yes.
that it should have been front and center years ago. But now that it is, all right, hallelujah, let's take advantage of it. Finally, right? Like, you have lots of options, and it's important to know. So that's a good point too. All right, so now you're doing it. I love that you're still open to options and seeing what else pops up, and with your lifestyle and the way you want it to be. It's nice to know that you have options. Is there anything you wish you'd known a little sooner, whether it was undergrad or graduate school, that you wish you consider your education, your careers, or anything you're like, "Oh, I just didn't know that then"? Would have been nice to know.
Um, I I think I wish I would have taken it a little bit easier on myself when I was
Mm.
struggling with these decisions. I think I was, um, well, I don't know if it's a generalization, but I think sometimes people in these technical fields want the right answer, and they think that there's
Yeah.
really only one right answer, and it really limits you in the type of thinking. And when I sort of let go of needing to prove myself or making sure people thought I was smart, it really like unleashed creative potential and potential for real collaboration. Because it's like you can't even really listen to people when you're focused on like, I have to say the right thing, you know,
Mhm.
you can't even engage fully.
Yep.
So kind of letting go of that and believing that I belong in this space. I have something to contribute. Maybe I don't know the exact right answer to this question, but um, that I wish I had found that within myself a little sooner.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. It's another thing that's not taught, and definitely I don't think it's taught in undergrad, but especially like with technical degrees, it's not. That's the way you think. That's why you're good at that technical degree and the engineering, all those concepts, because there is one right answer. But it's all these other softer skills and concepts that are more abstract that hinder you when you can't open up to them, and you just think, oh, it has to be this way. I know we just had a career fair at school, and all the students are like, what do I say when I meet someone? And they just want to like basically kind of read off their resume. Here's everything I do. Here's everything I know. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You already have that on the piece of paper you're about to hand them. There's so many other things you can talk about. Mostly that other person you're about to connect with, or where they work and what they do, asking questions. That's going to get you a lot further than just going down this list of this piece of paper. It's not so interesting, number one. And number two, it's not really having a conversation. You're just spitting out what you know, and they want to know really more about who you are. They already can assume that you're at the school, you're getting this degree, you're getting this education. They already know what you're going to know. What you do know or what you're about to know, because you're going to have this degree and they're here at the school, and they know that already. That's a given. Let's talk about all of the other things you can offer. And thankfully they're listening, a lot of them, and they're trying out what we're suggesting, and it's getting them farther, because it's not a common thing for people to do that. To look at the bigger picture and have it just a more like mature professional conversation, instead of like, here's everything I know. It's like there's so much more to it. So I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I will say though, I feel like at IIT I had, there was so much encouragement of interdisciplinary project work together. I didn't have that as much in grad school. It was much more, with my environmental engineering group, and those working on projects with architects and computer science folks, and interdisciplinary teams.
Yeah.
I I think that was really valuable for me, and maybe at the time I didn't participate as fully as I could have, but it planted the seed for me to grow in that way.
So smart, so smart. I know my older son, well, they're both, the older one graduated in 2019, the younger one's a junior there here. But the older one said the same thing to me that you just said. He wishes he would have engaged sooner with more people, especially people that were 1 or 2 years ahead of him, and asked more questions and just been more engaged in the process, because he would have learned a lot more sooner, and he just would have felt a little bit more ready when he graduated. So that's a big lesson and a good one to hear. So what's the best advice you could offer these young students, or even the ones that are further along in their careers, and they're going to switch their career, they're trying to figure out their great job, or what would you say to them, or what's been good advice that's been given to you that you followed?
I mean, I think what we were talking about is just letting go of some sort of expectation for yourself that you have in your head, and just kind of participating and engaging with people in the moment, listening to people. That opens up things in terms of creative potential. As I mentioned before, I feel like you can actually have new ideas if you give yourself the space to do that, and collaborate with people in a more real way. And then, yeah, I guess because I have some experience now being in a more senior role, interviewing people that are coming out of school, I kind of like what you were saying. People that are coming out of school often kind of have a little bit of fear, or
insecurity, insecurity.
Yes. And your whole self is really valuable and worth being a part of the conversation. So just kind of be yourself, and let go of fitting into a certain box, or checking something off.
I think that's great advice, because you number one, if you're pretending to be something anyways, and you get the job, you're going to have to pretend for the rest of the time you're there. They're hiring you for who you are and what you know, but more about who you are, because they can teach you the other things, and then the what you know part's already done. You got through the hard part, which was getting the degree, and then just being yourself is really, it's so cliche and it sounds simple, but it's like, but you don't have any other choice. If you try to be someone else, it's not going to. I try to teach them, the younger students, like it's when you're inauthentic and you're not being yourself, people know it anyways. So you might as well just go ahead and be yourself. If you get to trick someone and they don't know it, and you get to the spot you think you want to be in, it's never going to really be successful anyway. So might as well don't even go there. It's not worth it. And you can only fake it for so long. And it's not going to be fulfilling if you have to do that anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is kind of going back to the lifestyle thing, especially for people who are starting out in the workforce. Really think about what you want in terms of culture and benefits, and advocate for yourself. Even if whatever place you're applying to doesn't offer everything that you want, it's okay to tell people what your expectations are and what you want out of a workplace. I think, in the US, we're in sort of a shift in workplace culture, and I'm sure that will continue, but don't be afraid to ask for what you want and what you think is fair, and to advocate for yourself.
I love that. No one else is going to do it for you. It's also great advice. Yeah, you're not going to have anyone advocating in the beginning for yourself. You have to say what you want, and be real about it, and be ready to compromise, etc. But if you're not going to say what you want, and especially if you're being asked, I tell that to students. I say get used to it now, because you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. Especially if you're a woman, you're going to have to advocate a lot, because we're just not as, it is a generalization, but it's a true one. We're not as we're just not as confident in getting what we want and asking for what we want. And it's unfortunate, but and no one's trying to trick you by not asking you. They're just assuming you're going to ask if you want it. And we're just not as good as it as good at it. So I just say, figure it out now, get really good at it, and work that muscle, because you're gonna have to be doing it for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna let a lot of opportunities go if you don't. And no one can read your mind, and people, you have to speak up and advocate for yourself. So I love that. It's a great lesson. Thank you.
Sure.
So how can people get a hold of you if they have more questions, or they just want to connect with you? What do you suggest?
I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So you can find me on there with my name, Anna Kladzyk Constantino. The firm I work for is called Flow West, FLOWWEST.com. You can find me that way.
Awesome.
But those are the best ways to find me.
Awesome.
And
Well,
I'm
thank you.
happy to talk to anyone if it would be helpful. So
I love it. It's great. And I encourage students to do that more too now. It's just, I wish I would have done that when I was in college. Having, informational interviewing, have a 5-minute conversation and figure out if that's the thing you want to do. Ask people what they do on a daily basis. All those little things that don't take a ton of effort will give you a lot of information, as opposed to just heads down, finish your degree. And then all of a sudden you put your head up and you're like, I don't even know what I want to do. Talk to those people that are reaching out and allowing it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Anna. Well, it was so nice to speak with you. I'm excited for students of all majors to hear what you have to say, because all the advice you gave and your comments just really do apply to so many different areas in education and your career. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm very happy to participate, and it was really nice talking to you. And
Thanks.
I'm having so fond memories of the campus, looking at your.
I know, I love it, right?
Yes, that's the civil engineering building.
It's so cool. I love the campus. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll see you next time, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out the Illinois Tech Connect platform. It's the official networking site for Illinois Tech alumni. It's operated by Illinois Institute of Technology Alumni Association with help from Career Services. The aim of the platform is to connect our entire alumni community to provide a space for communication, networking, and other opportunities. Also, join the Illinois Tech Career Services group on LinkedIn and learn about all things career related. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Finally, as an alum, whenever you need career guidance or advice, you're always welcome to connect to the Career Services Department, make an appointment with a career coach, and take advantage of this lifelong resource available to all alumni. We can't wait to help you, and more importantly, we can't wait to see what you do.